Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. August 6th, Brennan Manning. Brennan Manning was a Marine in the Korean War. He studied journalism at the University of Missouri and later philosophy and Latin at St. Francis College, where he became a Christian. He was ordained as a Franciscan priest, taught, and then joined a contemplative order that served the poor in Spain and Switzerland. For 6 months, he lived in a remote cave in the desert. Later, Manning helped establish a ministry and chapel for poor shrimp farmers on an Alabama bayou. He ministered on a college campus. He befriended musician Rich Mullins and wrote 15 books. But more than anything, Manning learned to trust God completely.
Hurting people hurt people. Let forgiveness put an end to that cycle. Brennan Manning learned a harsh lesson from a cold and a distant mother. She had made him believe what she believed. You don't always get what you want. Years later, when Brennan got the call that his mother had died, he felt no grief. He was mad that he would actually have to attend her funeral. Her death certainly didn't erase all the years of abuse and pain and shame that he had endured. My mother had completely lost her memory, Brennan said, but I had not. He flew to New Jersey and he checked into a motel room near the funeral location. But he didn't go to the church and he didn't pay his respects. He went instead to the liquor store and he bought scotch. He locked himself into the hotel room and he shut the curtains and drank the time away. Thoughts of his mother plagued him. Brennan had no memory of ever being hugged, held, or kissed, not by her. Once, when she had said she loved his older brother more than him, she punched him over and over. Now, ashamed and alone in that motel room, he downed more alcohol, tried to forget, and he finally blacked out. The next day, Brennan woke, and he tried to remember where he was. Eventually, the truth became clear. He had blacked out from drinking, and he had actually missed his mother's funeral. He thought he could not feel more ashamed, but now he did. Another decade passed, and winter was on its way. One day, Brennan took time to talk to God about everything that was on his mind. His mother wasn't on that list of things to focus on. But when he was in the middle of a prayer, an image crossed his mind. He saw a little girl about 6. He knew it represented his mother when she had been a child. He saw her kneeling at the windowsill of an orphanage, her nose against the glass, praying for God to send her a mother and a father so that she could be loved. The little girl wanted to be cared for just like other kids. She never got the affection she so needed as a child. The image shook Brennan, and he realized his mother had been burned by life too. Because she had never gotten the affection she needed growing up, she didn't know how to give it away. In the vision, the little girl walked over to Brennan, and as she got closer, she aged. When she became the old woman he remembered from a decade ago, she said, "You know, I messed up a lot when you were a kid, but you turned out okay." Then she kissed him. Through his hurt and pain, Brennan learned a valuable lesson. God was showing him through the vision that it was okay to admit that shame had affected him all those years. But he couldn't allow it to disable him any longer. He could no longer be controlled by it. He looked at her and he said, "I forgive you." In the vision, his mother smiled back. "I guess sometimes you do get what you ask for." He later wrote about the experience and he said, "A trusting heart is forgiven and in turn forgives." Luke 6:37, "Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven." Resentment will cripple you. Release it. Hurting people hurt people. Let forgiveness put an end to that cycle.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." Join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.